You only see him once a year.
Hey, Mum.
I'm tired of seeing the same old thing. I want to see something different.
Your stupid adolescent life choices.
He sadly passed away.
I just want to leave school and make some money.
I know a way we can make some money. You know, Mike, he's looking to sell through youngers, so...
If you got any questions, you ask me now.
So when do we get paid?
Shut up, bruv.
You get paid as soon as you lot sell everything.
I feel like they're both up to something.
Looks like a pretty intense film there, just a taste of what we can expect. So tell me a bit about the story.
So, Clued Up initially follows two best friends in their last year of school, and it basically follows them trying to discover themselves and what they want to do. Theo's quite a bright boy. He kind of underputs himself and wants to go to uni but doesn't realise it. And his best friend AJ, played by Joel, is kind of a bit more of the party boy and kind of just here for a good time sort of thing. So they take their they kind of take their last year, and AJ decides, if you want to make a bit of money because they're a bit of a rough background, let's turn to this drug dealer. He used to go to our school. It should be safe. I kind of know of him. And from that, they go to meet him, and they get the drugs, and they accidentally switch bags with one of their classmates. So they've got a few days to make back the money they owe, and there's some serious consequences within that. So, yeah.
And tell me a bit more about your character, Theo. Would you say that he's a good guy?
I wouldn't say good. I think that he's got a lot of heart to him, and I think he definitely wears his heart on his sleeve. But he's got a lot of depth to him, and he's quite emotional. But I think to begin with, in the film, he's a bit of a bully towards a character called Georgia. He's a bit of an arrogant guy, a bit cocky, but he's definitely a loving guy, and you kind of see that progress throughout the film. So, yeah.
And what is it that made you want to tell this story?
I just think that right now in film and TV, there's nothing that really represents young people of how we actually are, So I think with Clued Up, I think whether you relate to my character or one of the other characters, it feels real. And there's so many stories that are within the film that aren't necessarily just about the drugs, about the individual characters that they go through on this journey. So I think that with that, you'll be able to relate to it. So I think that's important for me to be able to see, London in 2019 on screen.
Absolutely. And, you're based in Croydon, set in Croydon. Was that a natural move for you to set the film in Croydon?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, we did shoot in other places in London, but I definitely think that Croydon is such a diverse place. So for me growing up, you saw all sorts of walks of life, and that's something that I want to be able to capture in the film. You should be able to see yourself on the screen. So I definitely want to show diversity and make it seem normal without being like, oh, there's a black boy and there's a, I just want it to feel real. And I feel like it does capture that within the film. You don't really watch it and think, what's going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, of course. And you've acted since a very young age. I think 9 years old, was it? So what made you want to turn your hand to writing now? Because you wrote this, you produced it, you directed it. What made you want to turn to also behind the camera?
Initially, I had a meeting with my agent and I booked a few bits of work, and he said to me, you need some showreel footage, and a lot of the stuff I did wasn't out yet. And he kind of said to me, why don't you do like a short film? And at first hand, sometimes short films don't go too great. I was a bit like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do a short film. And I went home and I kind of thought about, again, what I wanted to see on TV and what was missing. And from that I kind of thought, let me create my own opportunity. And I didn't really realise that I was writing until now sort of time. It's really weird. I think that the directing, producing and the writing and stuff, it doesn't really, I kind of just felt like I was acting. I just kind of felt like I was just creating the project, so yeah. And,
to write, act, produce, direct, it's a lot. Did it take a lot of hard work and a lot of time?
Yeah, it's been a long, really, really long journey in terms of doing it. We started in 2017 in September. And I think from that, obviously when you're so young, there's so many things that can get in your way, and people do try to take advantage of you and things like that. So you kind of have to learn how it works, because I'm so used to being in front of the camera. I don't really know what goes on behind the scenes and, dealing with all that sort of stuff. So it was a lot of hard work, and the project means a lot more to me than just, another project you've done. It's very close to my heart, so yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I mean, quite an impressive feat for an 18-year-old. So when you were growing up, did you have any people that you looked up to? Because I know you said how you wanted to see people like you on screen, so that's what you've created. When you were growing up, was that missing, or did you have some people like that?
I think you have good influences. Like, I'm one of 7, so I've got a lot of brothers and sisters, and you kind of look at what they do and kind of see what they do. But also, I think when you're in school, you're just trying to find out who you are. You go down wrong turns, you hang out with the wrong people. And there's so many things that within the story, I know people that have gone through that. So I think a lot of adults do watch it and be like, oh, this is, this doesn't happen. It's a bit over the top. It's, it's just a film. But it does, it's coming from someone that's just come from school. So it's definitely something that is real. And I feel like like, you know, it might be a hard pill to swallow for some people, but it's definitely a real project. So I don't know, I think that I kind of just found my influences just kind of finding myself, whether that be my older siblings, older kids in school and that sort of stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, and another aspect that you explore in the film is the aspect of being mixed race. Why was that important for you to put in the film?
I think that when I was a lot younger, I kind of been brought up to be able to, you know, everyone's everyone, and like, I didn't really see it such a thing. But, you know, when you get a lot older, you start experiencing, you know, things that I wasn't used to. It's a whole new world to me within like racism and, you know, people saying you're not white enough to be white, you're not black enough to be black, and kind of exploring that and kind of getting to the age of like 15, and you kind of, you know, you're leaving school, it's summer, and you start meeting new people and you start experiencing new things, and kind of discovering that. I think that that was a big thing for me to be able to be like, just kind of raise not awareness on it on like a political sense, but just kind of, you know, make sure it's there in that sense. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and what do you think that, as well as sort of those issues, what else would you want people when they watch the film to take away from it?
Just that kids are growing. You know, I think that adults put a lot of pressure onto kids that you need to have it figured out. You know, you need to go from school to uni to get a job, have a family, get married, you know, all this sort of stuff, when you don't necessarily need to follow that success path to be successful. So I think that, you know, I just hope that people can watch it and be able to, you know, adults, you know, kind of look at their, you know, younger people and kind of not give them a bit more slack, but give them a bit more slack. You know, you're finding yourself. And one thing that, you know, I've always said is there's not much difference between being 30 and 31, you know, you're kind of an adult, but there's a massive difference between being 15 and 16 and 17 and 18. So, yeah, I just think kind of people finding that identity and kind of giving young people a bit more slack because of it's your first time for everything.
Absolutely. And Callan, finally, what are your ambitions for the future? What's next?
I've got a few other projects I've started since doing the film. A few other writing opportunities have come around, which is exciting, and filming some stuff over summer. So you know how it goes. You can't really say much yet, but just kind of diving into it a bit more now. I feel like this is hopefully just a start. So yeah.